Hello, welcome to my Lifestyle Chat channel. So I'm talking about feeling numb and disassociated and how this can be related to timeline shifting and paradigm shifting and all of this. So basically, I have to write things down to make sure I'm getting on points in the video. So Ellie experimenting with timeline shifting, Gen X. Right, yeah, so I was talking about how this disassociation feeling, it can be very specifically, can be a unique and specific experience to Gen Xers, and how saying how in the 80s, you know, the elites and the government and this sort of thing, they know how, they plan, and also they know how things are going to play out globally over a time span, be it 30 years, 50 years or 100 years. So they kind of predict how things are going to be, maybe like 60 years into the future. They plan it as well as they predict it. So I was saying that, you know, they made a lot of these sorts of movies like Back to the Future and Flight of the Navigator, because they knew that people who were in the teenage years at that time, like in the 80s, they knew that, say, 20 years later, 30 years later, which is like now, that we were going to be a very unique generation. And I think that part of the reason why sometimes I have these feelings, and let me know if you resonate, let me know if you relate, where I have these feelings sometimes like I'm shifting through different timelines, or, you know, have paradigm shifting or something. I think part of the reason why I feel like that sometimes, I do think that as well as, you know, other things such as experimenting with weather, you know, any sort of thing, tampering with the weather and all, which is actually documented. It's actually known that they actually do, it's called geoengineering, and it's not like hidden knowledge. It's things that you can go, if, you know, you can research this sort of stuff on the internet. I do think another thing they play with is time. I do think they do, you know, all these psyops that they create, and this kind of propagandaic stuff they push out in the media, you know, and on the news. Yeah, I do think that partly what they're doing sometimes is programming the masses into a particular timeline. Whether it's that they want to recreate the 40s, the war days, or the post-war era, or they want to recreate the 60s era, or they want to recreate, you know, a particular era. Like, I think what's going on now at the moment in the UK, right, we've just, a lady, she's resigned, Angela Rayner, so the new Deputy Prime Minister is going to be some black dude. So he's going to be the first black ever Deputy Prime Minister in the UK ever throughout all of history, which is quite astounding really when you think about it, or the history that we know of anyway, the history that's in the books anyway, you know. So I do think there's kind of like this underground black power, black rising that's going on in the UK at the moment, which, you know, things like this, they're never going to announce it on the news, are they? They're never going to just come out with it like that. But they always try to, you know, all this, they keep talking about the migration crisis at the moment. But me, I never really buy into the news, because I just think things that happen at the moment, such as, for example, the migration crisis, it's really, they're trying to make out like it's something new that's occurring in the country, but it's really nothing new. The UK has always been like that. UK has always been having people coming into the country from other, whether it's from Europe, from Africa, that has always made up part of UK culture. It's always been like that, but they're just, I don't know why they're just all the time creating this big like propagandaic thing, like, oh, now British identity, or we're having like this British identity crisis and all of this. It's just, I don't know. But basically, what am I saying? I think this right now, what's happening at the moment is they're recreating the 70s era. Because in America, they already had like Black Power movement, in the late 60s and the early 70s. So this is what I'm saying, like, there's nothing really new. And things that are occurring now, I think personally they program it into existence. They just say, oh, this is what was going on in this particular decade, so let's just recreate like that particular decade right now. Like all this to do with like Russia and Ukraine, or I just think they were trying to do some kind of experimental thing with time and trying to recreate this. They're trying to bring UK and Europe back into the medieval era for some reason. They're trying to do this, and B, I think they're trying to recreate the post-war era. They're doing just some kind of psyops. But you let me know what you think. You might know more about these topics than myself, and if so, let your voice be heard in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. So yeah, that's one thing. I think because they knew this about Generation X, that we were going to be quite a unique, quite intellectual, quite spiritual generation, that they put these particular programs into place for this timeline that we're on now, where they kind of like keep messing about with the timelines, to kind of give us this like disassociation feeling from the matrix or from the program, because they're always trying to stay 2 and 3 and 4 steps ahead of the masses. So they do that in order to keep control, because they know Gen Xers were quite rebellious type of people, were quite outspoken against the system anyway. So because they know that's how we were and that's how we were going to be, I think they've already put a program in place to counteract it, which is to keep timeline jumping, to maintain control, to keep us under control. And that's why sometimes some of us are experiencing this, like, it's like alienation, like disassociation feeling. You just never quite feel like sure of like what's going on or what's happening around you, or it gives you that like unsurety within yourself. People and like the people that you're around, they're just always trying to keep us like psychologically. They want us either on drugs, on medication, or getting pissed every 5 minutes, going in and out hospital, going to doctors telling them we got this problem, that problem. I got anxiety problem. I got this problem with my ass, this problem with my ear. That this is how they want us to be, just always on this constant like anxiety edge, and this is why we're being programmed. We're being sort of like. Even if we're coming out of the matrix, they're doing everything in the power to keep us still in the matrix. That's my best way of like describing what I mean. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying, like I said, or if you got something to add to enhance, what I'm saying, because you may know more about this topic than myself. So yeah, let us know then. Let us know. Highlight us. Make us aware. Enlighten us is what I'm saying. So my last video, I was saying how sometimes I get this feeling like the last 20 years as if it's just gone into the ether or something. It's just like didn't happen or something. And how I see like other people, like my previous friends and family members, moving on, getting mortgages, getting houses, getting married, having like 2, 3, 4 children, getting the cars, like, life just seems to be establishing for them. Whereas myself, I just always just feel like still stuck at square one. And what I mean is, it's not that I haven't been trying. It's not that I haven't had relationships. What I'm saying is I don't understand why this feeling is occurring for myself, that sometimes I get this feeling like the last 20, 25 years of my life didn't happen or something like this. And what I'm saying is that, I have had relationships, but they're just not they haven't worked out for whatever reason, which is giving me that feeling of still being like stuck on square one or something. And this is what I'm saying. I don't understand why this situation is specific to myself. It's like I see everybody else moving on in time, and I feel like I'm just frozen, like stuck in time. and I don't understand what is going on. It's not that it's not that I'm just waking up every day thinking the same thoughts, having the same emotions, you know. I'm active in trying to progress in my own life, but it just feels for me a lot of the time like something in life is just against that happening. It's just against me moving forward in life, like progressing through my own timeline, and I don't know what it is. This is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm gonna end that video there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for that. I'll speak to you later. Bye.